Hello, everybody. It's StephanieGrams. Sorry, just trying to get some lighting fixed over here. Okay, it's going to have to be grainy for now. So this is part, or I guess session 1 for the How to Start a Memory Bear Business. And this particular resource is free when you sign up for my newsletter. It's at Sewpreneur.com. And the disclaimer, let me see, is I cannot give you tax advice or legal advice or recommendations or anything like that, other than find a specialist in your area that can help you with your business needs. I do share what I've done for my business, and you can take some of that information and get help for yourself. When you sign up for the newsletter, you should receive within a day or two. It could be actually, I'll have to check and see how MailChimp has it, or how I have it set up in MailChimp, I should say. You should get something like this. It's going to be a PDF. And so you can save it or print it. I print it off and I put it in my business binder, and I will show you what my business binder looks like. I usually have a cover on it, but I took it out because I did not want to share what I had on it. But anyways, it's about a 2-inch D-ring binder, and everything that I use for my business goes in here. If you follow along with these free classes, you should end up having a binder that, if you decide to print everything, your binder should be pretty thick as well. If you are looking for the book, from what I understand, I'm the first person to write a book, and it's called The Ultimate Guide for Memory Bear and Sentimental Sewing Business Owners. The link to that is below this video, and it goes to the Etsy shop. It's a PDF you just print yourself. It will be an actual book here pretty soon, and the PDF will no longer be available. So if you want the PDF at the discount price, I suggest that you get it now. Okay, so starting with this How to Start a Memory Bear Business PDF. Again, this one is free. If you're new to business, you might find this interesting. Just bear with me if you already know some of this. If not, just follow along. And if you have questions, you can ask those below in the comments, and I will answer them as soon as I can. So when you start a memory bear business, there's a lot of things to consider. Some of the business must-do tasks are not as fun as the actual sewing and designing, but they have to be done. And if you can't do something yourself, find somebody that can. Find a legitimate person that knows what they're doing. So some of the things that you need to consider would be your business name, the legal filings, filing your taxes. Is the domain name free? Can you buy the domain name? Will you host your own company online? How will you process payments? And then obviously marketing, which is growth. Now, we didn't talk about branding, and that's also very important. And I will make notes to go over that also. Today is just an overview. And then each one of these bullet points that I just listed, again, that's going to be on the very first page of your free resource. You can follow along and just make notes. I've done that too. The trick to being successful is getting your business off the ground. Actually, to get it off the ground and be successful, you need to plan and organize your materials, prioritize your time, and stay on top of all the moving parts that are involved. You can't just set it up once and then forget about it. For instance, if you go with your own website, when you buy your domain name and you pay for your hosting, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll go into detail, I promise. And a plug underneath this video, I go through MomWeb's hosting. I've been with them for over 12 years, maybe more like 15. It's the only hosting company that I trust. Anyways, the affiliate link is under this video. I pay $10 a month for my hosting, but I host, I think I'm up to, actually I've downsized my businesses. I'm down to 7 online websites. But anyways, I only pay $10 a month, and I host all of those. But anyways, so in order to get started, you need to know the foundation, I guess the foundation, because without knowing how to get started on the right foot, you will see certain parts of your business fall. And I can say that from experience from years ago when I opened my very first sewing business. Um, you want to look into your local government and see what it is that they require for taxes and also the commercial usage. And they might use a different term, but basically, if you have a large needle embroidery machine, right, it does make a lot of noise. The single needle, like what I have, doesn't make hardly any noise. It sounds like, okay, so it does make noise. It's a little noisier than my sewing machine, but you get the idea. If you have more than one needle on a machine, the louder the machine is going to be. So you need to find out with your the zoning office, if you can have that machine in your house. And if not, if you're going to use a garage or a storage shed or something like that, definitely look into that, find out the laws. So you need to find out your local laws, the town, city, state, and then any other law that wherever it is that you live. So find out first on all of that. I go over business tools and equipment in this handout, and I'm not going to go over that list today with you. Definitely get this freebie and you can go through that as well. Making your business legal. This is not necessarily fun, but it is necessary. All businesses need to be legally structured according to the rules and regulations of your state, your city, and your county. This includes determining the legal structure of your business. Your business name, is your business name available? Has it been copyrighted? Is it trademarked? Does somebody else already use it? Because you don't want to cause confusion, right? If you have Mary's Bears, somebody else might have Mary's Memory Bears. And if you just say Mary's Bears, someone might get confused with Mary's Memory Bears. So you need to really think about your business name, but don't spend a lot of time. You don't want to get stuck there. You just want to start there, think it through. And like my LLC is called Sewing with Steam LLC. And STEAM stands for Sewing Together, Encouragement, and Meaning. Nobody else has that name. And I own it now, and it's registered in the state and other places. So definitely look into it and see what's available and if you like it or not. You need to find out about the taxes, the tax code, your local business license. Do you need a seller's permit, a vendor and or transient vendor's license? If you're going to sell or show your items in boutiques or pop-up shops, craft shows, things like that, find out about the legalities of that and what they require, including insurance. There is different types of insurance. Like right now, I have my renter's insurance, which covers all of my tools and materials and things like that, even though all of my items are in a storage unit in Ohio. My insurance I pay every month still covers that. But once I start providing the sewing service again, I need to add a different type of liability insurance. So there are at least two different insurances to consider in your sewing business, whether it's strictly memory bears or quilting. Look into it and definitely ask. And then I can find some resources for you and put those underneath this video. See what kind of regulations you have, federal, state, and local level, because you may have to do different types of paperwork for all three. Again, find out, and also your zoning. Reach out to a small business attorney or lawyer if you need to. I always recommend that because you don't want to get into any type of trouble. And laws and taxes, I think, change a lot and quickly. There are 4 common business structures. There's the sole proprietor, a partnership, an LLC, which is limited liability company, and corporation. And each structure has its own pros and cons. So it's definitely worth it to understand what each one offers you. But for this video, I'm only going to talk about sole proprietor and LLC, which is limited liability. So a sole proprietor is something that I used to be when I offered virtual assistants, when I was a VA or virtual assistant. And it's used quite often by freelancers. But when you are in the sewing business, I think that you need to cover yourself better legally. And that is the LLC. That right now is the structure that I have. And I'm going to read a little bit about what the LLC is. And there's some cons and pros to this. But again, this is up to you and your tax and legal advisory board, whoever it is you go through. So for my Memory Bear business, I'm an LLC. That is a business structure that's more complex than a sole proprietor, but less complex than a corporation. They are called pass-through entities because they're not subject to a separate level of tax. Most states don't restrict ownership on LLCs, and so members can include individuals, corporations, and even other LLCs or foreign entities. Most states also permit single-member LLCs, and that's an LLC with only one owner, and that's what I am. I am a single-member LLC. I own 100% of my company. The pro is the owner of an LLC has limited liability, meaning that they are not personally responsible for any financial or legal faults of the business. This reduction in risk is what makes an LLC an extremely popular business structure. The con is that the LLCs are often more complex than a sole proprietorship, which means higher initial costs. I paid a little over $100 for mine, but it's worth it to me. Taxes have the benefit of a flow-through tax treatment, meaning that the owner and not the LLC is the ones that are taxed. Having only one level of tax makes tax easier. And there's a link on the IRS for more information. So again, I can't give advice or anything like that. I'm just strictly reading what was online, and it's something for you to consider. When you choose and register your business, you want to stand out from everybody else. Not everybody is using memory bears in their titles because they might offer more than just a memory bear service. So keep that in mind. If you are more focused on a comfort care item or a blanket or quilt or something like that, then you may not want to just focus on the keywords of a memory bear, right? So keep that in mind when you're naming your business and choosing the products that you're going to make. Establishing your business name can be a little more complicated than making a list. So make a list of your favorites. This is when I like to take, like, for instance, if you print this book, this freebie off, flip the page over and just start brain dumping business ideas. I always recommend carrying a dedicated notebook or a journal. And I have one of those also in my Etsy shop. Let me see if I have one here. So this is what it looks like. This is the one in the Etsy shop that's for sale. And it's a PDF download also. And all of my brainstorming goes in this. And all of my project planning, I just jot it in here. It's not a big deal if it's different colors or anything like that. So just some ideas for you, but I literally will brainstorm everything in this dedicated area. That way I know when I'm thinking of expanding, like for me, when I was expanding my business, this was ideal because it was in my business planning binder. And that is like memory recall, where I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go back over to my brainstorming journal over here and look at my notes. So that's an idea. So whenever you're trying to name your business, I mean, you can use your own personal name. Like I have my own personal domain name. It's StephanieGrams.com. But I am not selling my memory bear services and the classes and stuff through that domain as of today. And today is July 10th, 2022. So I'm not using that right now. So just, think about what you want others to remember your business and your services from. Start off strong. That's why I said, take a little bit of time. Like even if you have to say, you know what, I'm going to take 10 hours and think of a business name, just set a timer if you have to, because you don't want to get frozen or stuck in this very first chore or to do in your company. You want to be able to move forward quickly. Let's see here. If you're using a name other than your personal name, then you may need to register with your state so they know you're doing business in a name other than your personal name. So not everybody has to do that. It's just make sure that you don't have to, like a doing business as kind of thing. I didn't have to, but some people may have to. Make sure your name is available in your state, and also the domain name and all the social media accounts. Now, think just if you come up with like Mary's Memory Bears, for instance, you want to make sure that it's available locally, maybe even nationally. All the social media that you plan on being on, and also the domain name. Sorry. And check the trademark website, and I have the link to that also in this PDF. So the trademark website is great when you're trying to find a business name. If you're going to purchase your domain name, whenever I register a new business, what I do is I go through each of these steps myself, and then I purchase the domain name the same day that I purchase it with my state. That way I already have it. Even if I don't have the website set up, I make sure that I have the domain name purchased. That way it doesn't get sold from underneath me, and then I've wasted all of this money. So definitely go through that, check it out. And if you want some really good in-depth teaching on a specific topic, you can go to the Small Business Administration website, and they have all kinds of interesting but very vague business advice. It is good. It's a good resource to have. But if you're looking for a memory bear business advice from somebody that does it, lives it, breathes it, sleeps it, then you want to stay on this channel. And that was a plug for me. Permits. You may need a permit. So as a memory bear owner, you may need to obtain a seller's permit. That will allow you to collect sales tax from your buyers, and it may do some other things for you, but from my experience, that's why I had it. And then you would pay your sales tax to your state whenever they say it. Like for me, it was every month. It used to be every quarterly, but again, look into that. Make sure that you know what's going on with that. Visit the IRS website and look up the seller's permit, and that would be on your state. So like in Ohio, had Ohio seller permits and things like that. Never pay for this information. Go directly to your state website. If you're going to use Google to find this information, scroll past everything that says ad or ads on it, because you don't want to click on those. There's no reason to click on the ads. There is not. You might need a seller's permit, a vendor's permit, or a transient permit, or all three. So again, get advice on what it is that you need. Your business license, what is it, and do you need one? I think it's safe to say, at least in my opinion, that you need a business license. As a memory bear business owner, you'll need to operate legally, and that will vary where you live and work and sell and all of that. So again, and you can find a specific license or permit online. Google your state's IRS, Small Business Administration, all those places. Taxes are not fun. I've been trained and have filed taxes for individuals. Okay. But I did not file taxes for business owners other than myself. So that's something that if you want to take the time and learn, I think that's great. I think continuing your education as a business owner is golden. But if you're new to that, I really recommend that you find like a CPA or somebody that is used to working with a small business, especially a sewing business or a textile business owner. And we will talk about those codes later in these classes. And I will share my experiences with all of that fun other business related stuff. But some taxes, there may be self-employment, employment, and excise taxes. And definitely, I will not go into detail with those because that is not my area of expertise. I just know what I've had to do in my own business. All right, so let's say that you have your business name and you made sure it wasn't trademarked or registered to somebody else. Let's just say that you've purchased the domain name, you purchased your license, and you set up all your social media accounts, and now you're good to go, right? You're licensed, you have your tax requirements and everything like that. Now is when you would think about the marketing, the sales, and customer service. And that is something that we will talk about in the next video, because I think for right now, you've got quite a bit of information to work with. If you have been in business for a while, you may want to go ahead and follow along with these classes, because there might be something that you're missing or you did not realize. And there might be something I'm missing and you want to let me know. And share your experience in the comments below, because I always find it fascinating that there are so many memory bear business owners. You would almost think that it was an overcrowded, business, but it's not. And I will talk about my experience with that statement also throughout these classes. But I really like the fact that when you own a memory bear business, for the most part, not every business owner shares their experiences, but the ones of us that do, we are really making a difference in the lives of others. And I hope that if there's something that one of like myself or another student is missing out on, let us know in the comments below. We're here to support one another and to encourage one another in this field without having to be rude or, a troll, because we don't like trolls. But you guys, I hope that some of this information or all of it, it'd be great if all of it was helpful to you. Again, the resource I went through just now and the resource I'm going to use in the next live will be the freebie from my newsletter. So please like and subscribe to this channel. I am working on the graininess of it. And I'll make this fast, I promise. So we are still temporarily in South Carolina, and we rent this condo. It's in a vacation, what they call a vacation resort. It's not always Wi-Fi friendly here, because the beach, like we're literally on the beach. And I know that probably sounds like, oh, elegant or whatever, but I'm not complaining. It's beautiful. But you have your pros and your cons. I really do miss having my own place, like my own family home. I haven't never owned one yet. That's definitely a goal. But getting back closer to family and having my sewing stuff back would be nice. Meanwhile, join me as we venture through this whole Start Your Sewing Business information here on YouTube and get your free newsletter and the download at Sewpreneur.com. And if you want to share your story on the podcast, let me know. And I also have the free Memory Bear business directory. You need to have a website and you need to have be in the United States for me to add you to that directory. The links to everything should be at Sewpreneur.com. If not, ask me in the questions or comments down below. See you guys soon. Bye.